Hi guys, Lorien here with another tarot review, or oracle deck review as it is at the moment. Today we're going to be looking at the Earth Magic Oracle deck by Stephen D. Farmer. I think, or at least I believe, this was the first oracle deck I actually bought. And to be honest, I was so used to tarot, I had no idea how to use it. So now I've had a few months, or maybe actually a few years. Yeah, I think it's a few years, to get to grips with this, work with it, see what it is actually meaning. So yeah, I think I'm actually in a better place to advise what it's supposed to be, or what the energies are like. So it comes in a very good sturdy box. I realised that I hadn't actually shown you the boxes before, and this is a little bit battered, I admit, because we've moved and things like that. So it's quite a good little sturdy box. I actually had to put sellotape around it because one of the cats decided to try and sleep in it, and they actually broke it. So this is the little book. It's actually quite a significant book. It's got a really good stuff inside, basically. It's basically a little bit of an explanation from the card, and then more of a spiritual shindig down there. But I always found that helpful, really helpful at first, until I decided to go ahead with my own interpretations. Now, this is the personality of this deck. As I say, it was quite hard to get to know, but I think basically it's because it's pretty much no nonsense. There's some scary images on here, especially if you were a novice at oracle cards like me, and it was kind of like here, when I first looked at this image, I was like, okay, so it's a wolf, and it's about instinct. It took me a while, maybe it was just because I was not ready to read them, but it really took me a while to read the cards. Like, I didn't really get how it could reflect on my question, but I honestly believe that was more on me than the cards. They do not mess around. And they do have really strong imagery, as you can see, and they are very strong-minded. They literally, I was just doing a reading and they flipped out. Literally, they flipped over as I was reading, and it's like, this is the message that you need to give this person. So they're really cool like that, but they're also very earth mothery. Oops, just missed one there, it's a sanctuary. But they're very earth mothery. They do give a very nice energy from them. When I was first reading with them, again, just because I didn't understand them so much, didn't really mean anything. I've come to know more about the cards, and they're certainly easier than my first tarot deck. What's the issue with my first tarot deck? But it is definitely something that I would recommend. The images are really nice, and they are all to do with elements of the earth, and, you know, connecting and grounding and generally being connected to the earth's energy. What season they work best for, again, I feel it's mostly all around, but I did connect more to them in the transitional phases. So for instance, when spring came or when autumn came, I was like, oh, I kind of understand you better now. Also, something very, this card I think has only ever come up once. It doesn't generate a lot of variety sometimes, and you could be wondering, oh, hang on a second, you know, have I shuffled enough? So I've had cards that have never come out of this deck, and I've had them for 2 years, just because it's not the right time for them to come through. This one may be one of the lowest ones that comes out, but when it does, I always know that it has a particular message. This one seems to be a very good message for people. It comes out quite a lot, but you do get the occasional one that only comes out very rarely, and I do love that card. It's so cute. You get the 4 changes of the year, so you get the winter, the spring, the summer, midsummer, and the autumn one. And again, these images are really cool, but again, if you were just go into it and go, okay, what can I get from this card? I get that it's a waterfall, and I get that it should be effortless, and that's what I was doing, because I'm a very visual reader. I look at the image and tell myself what the image is, but then I learned to read with more energy and intuition as to what that could apply to the actual reading I was doing, rather than just going, well, there's a bunch of trees and there's water. It had to be basically more me understanding what they were trying to say. And again, this is gorgeous. This is like a Joanne image, I think. The questions that they work best for. I think these are more mind over matter cards. I feel that if you were to ask something very deep for them, they'd give you a good answer. They can also be predictive, but not so much. I think it's more to do with your psyche and what you're actually going through and what you can do to help yourself. They're a solution deck, I think, as well. They're also an encouraging deck. I mean, this is great. It says that it's going to unfold. Just be patient. It will come through and you will see the other end of it. And also this one, you get the occasional ones which look so busy and you've got so much to tell people with. And it's really, really lovely, I think, to see all that on there. Like dance, celebration, you do have different cultures on here and you do have different representations, and it's absolutely wonderful to see it. We have also a lot of sunlight, a lot of gorgeous landscape looking at, like it's all there. Look, spring equinox. I absolutely love this card. It's even got little eggs around the neck. So cool. The level that they work best for, I think, maybe the beginner who's had a bit more experience. If you're just getting to know the system of tarot and you want to try oracle cards, you might have better luck than me when I was doing this, because I didn't get how crystals were focused. I couldn't see the correlation, and I'm sure some people may actually agree or disagree and say, well, but that's, I think, what makes good cards, to be perfectly honest. If you connect with them, you do. But this was just a case of working with them, seeing what they told me, and generally understanding that, I think this was maybe my mistake, oracle cards are not tarot cards. Oracle cards come with a set agenda, and they are there to tell you based on a theme as to what the actual creator was going on about. So yeah, it's not kind of like crystals, this means 2 of cups or whatever. This is very strong in having your interpretation of it, and also the book on hand, hopefully. I do feel that these are better done for short, sharp readings, maybe 1 to 4 cards. I've never really done a full spread with them, and I don't feel that they do need it. Otherwise, you're just going to get a very convoluted message that may contradict itself. Again, it's very blunt, it's very to the point, it doesn't over-exaggerate things, it just comes through. I love this, I especially love this, because it's got a little green there, it changes colour, I love it. But it's very strong in just saying, this is what you need to know, simple card, done. I actually do like this card. This is another card that's very rare. This is extremely rare. This hardly ever comes out, and I'm sure there are others that don't come out as much. This one comes out more often simply because of the nature of some people's questions. This one actually, I think, is the rarest. Forest and Breath. You get a lot of autumnal equinox and releasing things, but as you can see, it's also absolutely brilliant images. New moon, full moon, got timings here. I don't think they're very good at predicting timings, but they're certainly good at saying the meaning behind certain energies and actions. And again, I think you can only do a very short reading with this. You don't need to do like a 20 card spread or whatever. It just basically tells you what you need to know. And if you go but, then you'll lose the message. See, that's a very scary card to me. That's kind of like my worst fear realised. I don't like it. But it's pretty good. I think it's basically supposed to make you nervous. And it's got all this kind of artwork here. This is also a very rare card that comes out. Just trying to find the rarest ones. It's not too rare. Thankfully this one doesn't come out too often, the volcano one. Shape-shifting, rainbow, you've got Milky Way, rain, childhood. It's really, really gorgeous deck, and I would recommend anybody having it in their collection. And sometimes I do use it on my altar, just to represent either the full moon or the new moon or something about it, just to give the energies of that, and give it a bit of an extra kind of understanding. But I would recommend that you try it, maybe when you feel ready for it, because this called out to me and it wanted to work with me, and out of all the ones that were currently being released, I chose it. At the moment I think the Gaia one, the Gaia Oracle's calling out a little bit, but hopefully I'll be able to work with that in a few months. But I hope this was helpful. If you are looking for an Oracle deck, you may find a different one easier at least to start, but if you're not wanting to back down from a challenge, or you're not wanting to miss this from your collection, I definitely recommend it. I think it's really, really strong, and I just opened it and it was the first card that came out first, so it's kind of like, it does have a message. The personality of it is, I think, kind of playful sometimes, but it pretty much doesn't want to give you any excuses as to not listen to the messages, so it doesn't have an attitude problem or anything like that. It just comes out going, here, pretty much. It's a really nice grounded deck, and I would recommend that you get it. But I hope that helps, really. If you would like a reading from me, I do offer them down below, and if you'd like to support this channel for weekly rewards and monthly rewards, our Patreon link is below. But in the meantime, I do hope that you have a brilliant week, or whatever you're doing. Haha, beautiful card. I'll leave you with that card because it's pretty, and see you soon. I'll speak to you soon, and yeah, happy reading.